Enduro Method is an online strength and conditioning program built for those who ride by those who ride. We are professional coaches dedicated to building the best and most revolutionary off and on the bike training for dirt bikers around. Enduro Method offers a monthly subscription which gives you access to our ongoing current training program. By subscribing to Enduro Method, you receive our Iron Track, which is for those who have a gym or gym equipment, and our Gravity Track for those with minimal to no equipment. We design our training for riders who want to keep their general physical preparedness in top form year-round. We also offer more specific training plans that you can purchase anytime. We have built an 8-week hard enduro training plan designed to get you ready to race with structured off and on the bike workouts, all in a comprehensive 8-week plan. If you are interested in joining the monthly Enduro Method training subscription, we are offering a special discount for our podcast listeners. Use discount code EMPodcast23 in all caps for 50% off your first month of training. See the show notes where you can find discount codes and a link for more information and to sign up for Enduro Method. And now, on to the show. All right, and we're live, joined today by Jim Flynn, race director for Grinding Stone, and Matt Musgrove. Hello, thanks for coming on.
Thanks. Be here.
All right, let's start out, maybe just give a little intro backstory on yourselves and what kind of parts you're playing in Grinding Stone and the series in general, starting with Jim.
Okay. Well, this will be our third year putting Grinding Stone on, and we feel like we've had some success in the past years and put together a fun, challenging course for racers and really try to make it a good spectator event as well. And so we are trying to build upon what we've done the last 2 years and just continually evolve the event and make it fun, make it more challenging. And we have a unique terrain out here in Arizona. It's different than just about anything else. Well, it is different than anything else that you're going to find in the country. So I think people are excited to come here, and it's been a lot of fun, putting the event together.
Awesome. Matt.
Yeah, so been working with Jim over the past several months on how to, move forward with the event. We're excited to see some new restructuring and improvements to, it's a great event as it is, and but I think there could be room to improve, and we all believe that. Even with the series, we always got room to improve. But I love this event. It's one of my favorites, and I got to race it in the first year in 2021, and just had a blast. It was a buddy and I, Jaffe. We just kind of partnered up and tag teamed the entire course, and we didn't finish a lap because we ended up helping a bunch of people at first in that first bottleneck, and then we ended up just tag teaming the rest of the course, and we just had so much fun. It was such a fun experience to be a part of this race. And that's one of the things with this race is it's in every hard enduro really is if you have the right mindset going into it, it can be a really fun experience and not just a race. You're out there to help each other get through, and especially on the amateur side. And I know a lot of people are racing, but for people that are like hesitant about the race aspect, it's just such a ball to get through these obstacles and to really challenge yourself and your buddies.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique place. I mean, Sam raced it in 21 and was blown away just with the terrain. So I'm curious, Jim, like when you said you moved there in 72, was it?
Yeah, I grew up in Page, and then after high school moved away, went to college and just never found my way back here. And then I ended up buying some real estate up here about 3 years ago, and I've just spent more and more time up here. And I'm fortunately able to work remote with my job, and so it's just nice to look out my window of my house here, and I actually see the race course. So I mean, it's nice, but it's also something that's always on always on my mind. I'm always thinking about what can we do differently, what can we improve, looking at new lines and new obstacles, and it's trying to utilize, what we have here. And, so it's, it's good.
Yeah, when you started originally, was it just you've been riding there so long and you just started to look at it and say this would be really cool to expose, bring people in and let people know that you can ride down here and how different it is?
We have a unique situation here where most hard enduros are held on private property because the nature of a hard enduro, you're not really on just like a single track. It's a designated trail. I mean, hard enduro is kind of its own thing, and so we have a terrain that can accommodate a hard enduro, but we also have the city of Page is just a great partner in putting an event like this on, and they're very easy to work with, compared to like a federal government agency or something along those lines. I mean, they're just we're putting the event on in a designated off-road area anyway, and so it's just they make it easy. It's just a really good venue. And so back in I guess it was late 2020, I was approached to maybe put on a hard enduro here, and I knew it could be done because I had been putting on hair scrambles here with my club for a few years, and I've looked up in the cliffs and thought, wow, we could do a hard enduro here, and so then I just started putting sections together, and it just kind of evolved, and then we had race one in 2021, and or the first year I should say, and after that, we had some complications with some developments over in that area. And so then we had to move the course for 2022. And, so I had to develop an entirely new track and do all of that work all over again. But I guess the good news is we actually now have, two separate areas, and we, it just opens a lot up for the future, and so I think at some point we'll probably move back over to the other side of the road or incorporate both sides of the road, so it's good. There's a lot to ride out there. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think just the uniqueness of it makes it a very special event. I mean, I had never ridden anything quite the same. Probably Moab was the closest, but the rock's different. The sand's different. It's really cool.
Yeah, Moab's probably the closest thing that you could liken to this, but they're pretty strict with their trails and staying on designated tire marks and so forth, and it would be tough to duplicate what we have here there, but hey, we'll take it. So.
Yeah, what Jim has is pretty special. We know he's put in hundreds of hours into this, and we really appreciate all the passion and effort he's put in to help make the sport grow in that area. It's truly a one-of-a-kind race. There's nothing like it in the world. And, with America, we have a very big, diverse, selection of races that we can go in all types of terrain. And Grinding Stone is on one side of the spectrum. When it comes to desert, we have King of the Motos and we have Grinding Stone, but Grinding Stone's the sandstone and the sand there and the lake right there. It's just such a unique place, and plus for spectators, it's just such a great event to bring spectators out to, and everything's so easy to see. I'm inviting my whole family down, trying to get them to come, and it's just a really fun event. Plus town's 5 minutes, it's right there inside town, so all your accommodations, anything you need is right there.
Yeah, it's really cool. So looking at format from, let's say, I think 21, right, was the first year.
Yes.
Then 22, and like you had mentioned, 21 was on the, I don't know what direction, but we'll just say the other side of the road, and it was one big race, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like a 4-hour cap.
Yeah, we did 4 hours and like a 4-hour and 30-minute timeout on race one, and then I added an hour last year for 22, and originally putting an event like this together, I just I know sometimes you have challenges with scoring, and that first year I just wanted to try to keep the format as simple as possible, for scoring purposes, and just making sure that we started at the right times, and just had it go off without a hitch. And I think we've learned a lot, and have great faith in our scoring crew now. And well, I did. I mean, these are great guys. They know what they're doing. They're dialed in, and I feel like I feel like we're ready to expand the format and try to add to the event by making it 2 days versus 1 day. So.
Awesome. Let's talk about if you could walk us through this year, what it looks like.
Sure. So race 1 is going to be on Saturday, and it's going to be a 4-hour race with all classes. We're going to start on rows by class, and so the idea with it is that a lot of the top pros, I mean, they'll be challenged, but they don't necessarily want to be out there for the full 4.5 hours. So what we're doing is we're limiting the race to 4 laps. So if you're a top pro and you're running 35-40 minute lap times, you're going to be done around the 2-hour mark or so, and you're done. And but for the amateurs, I want to make sure that they get plenty of seat time, especially if they're only racing race 1. They'll be out there for the full timeout, which is 4 hours and 30 minutes, and they're going to feel like they got as much racing in as as they did in the 2 previous years. And so I'm trying to really, the format changes to try to accommodate the amateurs and make it a fun and a good experience for them. I don't want amateurs accidentally going on pro lines or pro splits. I want to put obstacles out there that they are have a possibility of actually running and not getting hurt. There's a lot of, I mean, the pro lines are high exposure. I mean, I think anybody will tell you that. And just even having somebody accidentally run down a pro line, we have safety in mind, and we want to try to match the course with the folks that are racing it, and hence with the 3 different races, the 3 different courses, the course gets progressively more difficult. And again, I want to reiterate though that race 1 is going to be as challenging as the amateur course was last year. I mean, there's going to be every bit as much challenge there. So, I want to dispel any notions that maybe somehow this is just a hare scramble or a prologue or something like that, because that's definitely not the case.
Right. Still a hard enduro, but I mean, I feel like that's always the crux for you guys, for race directors and stuff, is trying to put together a race that's challenging for the amateurs, it's safe, right? And then still challenging for the pros in the same sense. But this seems like a great compromise in that way, that you can just build difficulty as people progress through.
I think so. I think that as the difficulty builds, even race 2 for the top 100 riders, I mean, they are going to be challenged, but without a doubt. I mean, I think that, and we're limiting that to basically just 1 lap or a 2.5 hour cutoff. I think there's going to be quite a few people in race 2 that don't complete that lap because of the added difficulty. But again, trying to match, who, the racer with the terrain, and I don't want to get folks, on obstacles that are way over their head and gonna, cause somebody to be injured. And I mean, hard enduro is difficult, but I mean, again, I just trying to evolve and trying to check all the boxes. And I think that this does it. Like I said, I'm hoping that the amateurs feel like we're catering to them, because we are. And I know that just because they're not racing all 3 races, I feel like most amateurs are going to feel like they got their money's worth, and that it was worth the drive and the expense to get here. Because I did all the rounds last year with my son. I was on the road for 4 months chasing the series. I understand travel expenses and time off work, and I get all that. And like I said, we're really trying to check all the boxes with this format and create an event that caters to everybody, so everyone feels challenged. Whether you're a C amateur or a top level pro, you're going to leave the event and say, wow, yeah, that was tough,
Right. Are all the courses different, or do they have parts that are similar?
Course 1 and course 2 are going to have a lot of similarities. Course 1 is about 12 miles, and course 2 might be a little bit further because we're adding to it. So yeah, there's definitely similarities, but just a lot more spice. And then course 3 is completely different. I mean, it's basically every obstacle is a pro line on, and it's a short course. It's probably 3 miles or so, and it should be really fun, and that's the other thing too. I mean, when, in previous years as an amateur, you're out there racing with the pros, which is really cool, but you don't get, there's no spectating involved. And I think that when you look at the totality of the weekend as an amateur, even if I race 1, maybe make it to race 2, I get to go and watch race 3 and watch the heroes of the sport just, do things that are superhuman. And, I think that's kind of cool too. And, and even if you don't make it out of race 1, again, not the end of the world. I mean, we're going to have, we have vendors, and we're going to have a stage and a band play again. And, on Saturday afternoon, I mean, there's going to be entertainment. We're just trying to make it, a hard enduro festival, and, like I said, have something for everybody. So.
Yeah, I know. Just like, I mean, one of the big draws of TKO, right? You go race, and then you get to watch the best in the world basically perform, right in front of you, and it's really cool.
Yeah, for sure. I think, it, like I said, what these guys can do on dirt bikes, I think it's inspiring for the amateur that's trying to improve. And, and the other thing with this being a spectator friendly venue, where we encourage folks to get out on the course, but not on the race course, but next to the race course, and watch the action. We're going to have some UTV shuttle services for folks that show up to the event and don't have any off-road vehicle to get around the course. But, if you have an extra dirt bike, if you've got a UTV, a quad, whatever, if you want to get out on the course, you're going to be able to access all parts of it and, watch every obstacle if that's your goal. And anyway, I think I've said this before. I think the future of the sport really lies with the spectators. I think there's a finite amount of racers that that are going to chase a hard enduro series. But I think there's an unlimited amount of spectators. And I think when you, as a spectator, and even a dirt bike rider that maybe doesn't race, when you see what these guys can do, I think it's, from a motorsports standpoint, it's as exciting as anything out there. And I think spectator accessibility is important for the growth of the sport. And that's why we're putting together a dedicated spectator route, so everyone can get around, whether you're a race team, friends, family, you want to chase your racer around, the course and watch him or her, do the various obstacles, you can do that. And like I said, I think that's important. So.
Yeah, I think even from the first year to the second year, that was very noticeable in the accessibility of stuff. And you guys provided a great map in 22 of, the course, and it was really easy to follow. I was able to race in 21 and got hurt right before 22. So I ended up spectating and not participating. Yeah. But it was really cool to be, as much as it sucked not being able to race, being on that side and, following people around. It was really fun to watch.
Yeah, and without the trees here, with everything being open and exposed, I mean, even if you have a set of binoculars, you can see a lot. It's really neat. So.
And Jim, how many miles is course 3? It's shorter, right?
Yeah, so the race 3's around 3 miles. I haven't clocked it exactly because, I mean, honestly, I haven't ridden a lot of the pro obstacles because I choose life, but I think it's about 3 miles. So
Yeah, and that'll be a really, really exciting spectacle to have that finale be, and that there'll be, burning laps, and there'll be lappers in the way on lines, and it's going to
Yeah.
change a lot in those 2 hours. And I would compare that to something, and I've never been to these, but you watch them on Red Bull TV, but like the Getson Rodeo or Hispania, they have a final and they're just burning laps in these tough sections. And some of the biggest obstacles are the lappers every race. But with 30 riders on the course, it's going to really, it's going to be limited, but also 3 miles isn't that long with 30 riders either. So
It really isn't. Yeah. And the goal is I think that the top 30 should be able to get through most of it. But yeah, I mean, undoubtedly, the top riders are going to be dealing with lappers, and and that's part of that's part of the racecraft and dealing with that, so, but they're not, I think everybody will be at a level where I don't think you're going to see a bunch of bottlenecks. You might have somebody that gets stuck, but they'll clear. And I mean, it's just like if you've been to TKO, it's the same type of thing. I mean, there's lappers in TKO in the final race, and that's only the top 15. And so it's kind of the nature of it. But yeah, race 3 should be exciting, and I think the spectators are going to get a treat.
Definitely.
Yeah. What about camping and kind of showing up and all that stuff?
Yeah, so same as last year, there's no charge for camping. If you need full hookups, there is a full hookup RV park that is, a half a mile away. I mean, you literally could ride your bike, your dirt bike or what have you, right from the RV park to the start of the race, the pit area. And there's hotels aplenty, there's Airbnbs. I mean, we have plenty of accommodations in the town. I plan to have food vendors out at the event, but again, short drive into Page, and you have, multiple restaurants of, any sort of cuisine that you want. And, Page is kind of a resort town. I mean, that it exists, strictly for tourism purposes now. And, it's got a lot of accommodations that some of the more remote races don't have. So.
And is the camping location the same spot as last year?
Yeah, it'll be in the same spot, it literally in the same spot. As you go through the gate, there'll be signs that say, dry camping or what have you, but it's very similar to last year if you were here. So.
Nice. And there's a track walk on Friday.
Yeah, so Friday afternoon, a track walk, we're not racers. We don't want dirt bikes out, on the course or even on the spectator course, just because, we just don't want to have to deal with any of that. But I mean, if you have a 4-wheel drive or UTV, or, if you want to walk or whatever, I mean, you're welcome to get all around. I'm trying to put together a UTV rental, get a company out that will actually rent UTVs, aside from the shuttle service that we're going to be having from Upland Adventures. I'd also want to try to, if someone wants to rent a UTV, like as a race team or whatever, they can do that. So, and get around out there. But there's highway accessibility to the far ends of the course as well. If you want to take the highway around and then park and hike in or whatever, you can do that as well. So.
On the track walk, are all 3 courses marked where you could look at all 3, or is it going to be?
They are. Yeah,
okay.
They're basically the course markings for race 1 and 2 are going to be very similar. And then obviously at the end of race 1, we're going to go out and make some changes to add sections or obstacles for race 2. But as far as just the regular course markings, and we'll explain all that in the riders meeting as far as what color is what, but race 3 will be marked an entirely different color. And I don't think there'll be any confusion about which way to go. So, and we should have a ton of volunteers out on the course as well this year again. So
Jim, you have a couple clinics going on, right?
We do. So Ryan Wells with AZ Dirt Bike Training will be out doing a clinic. And then Max Gersten, part of the series, our media guy, is going to be doing a clinic on Friday as well. So, plenty of options to get out early and ride. And speaking of which, you can ride. We're only utilizing about half of the OHV off-road area in the city. And so much like last year, if you want to go across the highway and go ride where the race course was in 2021, and just kind of get acclimated with the sandstone and the sand, you're welcome to do that. And I mean, you can do that at any time leading up to the race. We're going to start marking the course a week before, and so once course markings are out, we don't want any racers out there riding in the race area. But like I said, the other side of the highway is fair game. And I would encourage, if you don't ride this stuff often, or maybe you only ride it once a year, I would encourage that you come out a few days ahead of time and get some practice in. And if there's still spots available for Max and Ryan's 2 different classes, I'd highly recommend these guys. They're professionals. They know what they're doing, and they'll advise. I mean, I think you'll get a lot out of riding with them if you sign up for one of their classes. So.
And then I have another question, Jim. What do you recommend for people coming out, like families? They come out a couple days early. What kind of activities are there in the surrounding area that they can visit to hike?
Yeah, I mean, in someone you can reach out to me directly if you need some specific recommendations. But yeah, there's hikes. There's Horseshoe Bend and Antelope Canyon are probably the 2 biggest attractions here in the area. And I would recommend doing both of those. I mean, Horseshoe Bend is cheap. I think the city charges $5 a person to go out and park and go see it. Antelope Canyon, Ken's Tours does a great job, and that's a little bit more expensive, but it's worth it. I mean, this is, when you think of slot canyons, this is the quintessential slot canyon. And it's, the pictures that you see of slot canyons, it's usually antelope. So I would definitely do those 2 things. If you need some other recommendations, I can certainly make them. I mean, there's hundreds of hikes out here. There's UTV tours, there's boat tours, you can rent jet skis, I mean, it just on and on and on. And I mean, there's people that come in vacation here for a week or 2 at a time just to go and see everything in the area here. I mean, this is a world-class destination. So
awesome. And we did have one question that you kind of hit on, but you can ride there year round, right? It's OHV open area.
Yeah, this is an open riding area. I mean, you can go ride the race course area right now today, if you want. I mean, this is not private property. It's a designated off-road use area. And if you want to come out and try your luck at Stairway to Heaven because you think you're going to make race 3, knock yourself out. It's just that a week before the race, riding in the race course area is going to be off limits, as we're marking, is the only thing. But no, you can definitely come out and ride. And while I'm thinking about it, I wanted to also mention in race 1, because there's been some questions on how the scoring on that's going to work. And my intention on race 1 is to score that on corrected time. So, if you're starting, 5 rows back, you're gonna, I mean, although you're going to be contending with traffic in front of you more than likely, you'll still be on corrected time. So.
Right. That makes sense. And then going forward from there, it's just basically how far you get and where you finish in each race. It's not like each race is scored individually.
Correct. Yeah. And there'll be on races 1 and 2, there'll be checkpoints that you'll clear, and so if you make it a lap and a half, or a lap and 2 checkpoints, I mean, you're going to be scored to that second checkpoint.
From previous years, are there like a certain number of parts that would be handy to have on your bike during the race from that stuff gets broken, whether there's brake pedals, clutch.
Yeah. I think that I think the important thing is the first thing that comes to mind is bar ends. I think either you run a hard bar end or you run. I'm not a fan of wraparounds myself, but look, wraparounds would be a great thing to run out here if you like to run them. But the thing is, if you dump your bike in the sand, this sand is super fine, and if it goes up into your throttle tube, and I've seen it, I've done it. You get sand in your throttle tube, it's a real downer. And so I would work on that first and foremost. Obviously, skid plate, guards, rotor guards, just the typical things that I would run: tugger straps, front and rear. I would, as far as carrying pipes or carrying parts, I'd have certain things in the pits, pipes, potentially radiators if you have spares. Not a bad thing to bring. I mean, there was some DNFs last year from radiators. I would run radiator guards. Speaking of that, like I said, any of the obvious guards that you run in hard enduro, you definitely want out here.
Right. Are you able to have people, say you're out on the course, something breaks, are you able to have stuff brought to you and then you can work on your bike kind of thing?
Yeah, you could, there's no outside assistance, but if someone sets a part down by your bike and you want to change it, I've got no problem with that,
Yeah, it's a series allows you to hand over tools or parts or even fuel, water. You just can't have any outside assistance, anybody else
outside of the pits, right?
Right. And so riders can help riders, but no spectators, essentially, or
correct.
Yeah. But if you have somebody that brings you a pipe because you smashed your pipe in, they can run that out to you. That's no problem.
Right. And then at pits, you can have food and spare parts, tools, whatever.
Yeah, whatever you need, full assistance in the pits, Yeah.
Awesome. Well, think anything else you want to throw out there, Matt, too?
I'd just like to thank Jim and his whole crew. I know he has a lot of people that help him before leading up to the race and at the race itself. The Rockstars Motorcycle Club is a great group of people, and Jim's been very passionate about this event in the sport. He's helped, push me, in a lot of different ways. And so I appreciate him and I look forward to this race. And if anybody has any doubts about the updated format or about the technicality of the terrain, anything like that, do not hesitate to send us a DM, US Hard Enduro a DM, send the Grinding Stone AZ Instagram a DM or a message, send us an email. Just reach out if you have questions on anything about the race in particular, bike setup, and how to go about things. We want to help make this process easy. We're growing as a series. We're trying to establish a foundation to expand and scale this thing, and so we need input from people that are brand new to this. So we want to make sure that people feel welcome, and then we point them in the right direction when they have questions. So the new format is going to be excellent. I mean, I'm really excited about it. The knockout format is proven, and it's kind of eliminating some of the issues we've experienced in the past, and will allow for a very fun, spectator-friendly final. So yeah, that's all I kind of have to say.
Yeah, I think, and too, like for those maybe that haven't been out there and raced yet, everything looks smaller on video. And so when we're just saying like some of this stuff's really sketchy and exposed and potentially dangerous, like you don't really know until you're in person, and then you're like, oh, that's completely different. So I'm personally really excited about it because I think you're able to showcase and let the amateurs have something that challenges them but doesn't put them in positions to potentially get hurt. And then also, as the races progress, let the pros, do what they do and everybody can watch. So it's really cool.
Yeah, that's the whole goal. We're trying to evolve and grow and continually improve. I'm not going to just sit back and rest on, our success of last year. I mean, I want to grow the event. I want to, there was some hesitation, I think, in past years from amateurs just saying, wow, yeah, no, I'm not interested in that, because you see all these videos of, on YouTube of, bike carnage and all of this. And yeah, you know what I mean, hard enduro, no matter where you race, there's bike carnage. But, I want to put together an event that, that amateurs, won't hesitate to sign up for. And, if they make a long drive and go to an expense, they're going to feel like, they're going to come away, glad that they did it. And that's what we're trying to do here. I definitely don't want to scare anybody away. I mean, it is going to be a hard enduro, but I'm trying to take away and remove a lot of the death defying areas of the course that may scare amateurs. And but like I said, it's a balance. I mean, it's really tough as a promoter to try to check all the boxes and have the amateurs have every bit of a good experience as the top pros and everybody in between. And it's just I think we're accomplishing that with this format. I mean, time will tell, but I've seen, I mean, this is a proven format, as Matt said. I mean, there's other races around the country that do the knockout format, and it works. And I think hopefully people will come away and be really glad that they participated. So
yeah, I'm stoked. Yeah, really looking forward to it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Maybe one last time, just where can people reach out with questions, get a hold of you, all that stuff?
Okay, so we're on Instagram at Grinding Stone AZ. My email is jlflynn4@gmail.com. And then you can just direct message me or email me, and I'll get right back to you. I mean, I monitor the stuff daily, and I field a lot of questions already, but like I said, if there you get questions about tires, or I mean just anything at all, anything and everything, just let me know. So
Great. Well, really appreciate both of you guys coming on, and hopefully this will help get some more people to the race, and we'll be seeing you in end of March.
Awesome. Look forward to it. Thank you very much for having us today.
Yeah, thanks,
Josh.
Yeah.
Thanks, Matt.
Okay.